Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're taking a deep plunge into a piece of legislation that, well, at first glance, might seem a bit technical, maybe even dry.
Definitely sounds it.
Right. But trust us, it quietly underpins the reliability of countless things you encounter daily seriously. From the food on your plate to, the accuracy of the fuel pump at the gas station.
It's surprisingly pervasive.
Exactly. We're going to unpack the Accreditation for Conformity Assessment, Calibration, and Good Laboratory Practice Act, 2006. Our mission for this deep dive is really to pull back the curtain on this act, make it clear and engaging for everyone. Whether you're just curious about how the world around you is regulated, maybe how things work, or perhaps you're a law student looking to understand these foundational legal frameworks, you're going to get some serious insights today.
Yeah, because this isn't just some, dusty legal document. It really forms a bedrock of trust in our economy.
Bedrock of trust. I like that.
And this act, which officially came into force back in May 2007, it isn't just a standalone law either. It's what we call a consolidated piece of legislation.
Consolidated.
Meaning it brings together and strengthens existing principles. It creates a really comprehensive legal framework for a crucial system within the Republic.
Okay, so this isn't just an ordinary law then. It sounds like maybe something significant was missing before this act came along. Why did Parliament feel the need to enact this particular law? What was the problem they were trying to solve?
That's a great question. And the Act's preamble, the introduction, gives us a fantastic starting point. Essentially, it recognized there was this urgent need for an internationally recognized national accreditation system.
Okay.
Think of it like creating a common, trusted language for quality and competence. The preamble actually calls the system a crucial element of a well-functioning technical infrastructure, something vital for aligning with international best practice.
So keeping up with the rest of the world, basically.
Precisely. And it also explicitly emphasizes the goal of supporting enterprises, businesses, in what it calls a fast-paced global economy.
Makes sense.
Without a reliable way to demonstrate that your products or services or even your lab data meet certain standards, businesses in the Republic would really struggle to compete internationally.
Right, they hit barriers.
Exactly. It was also designed to strengthen the recognition of SANAS, that's the South African National Accreditation System, and importantly, to support broader public policy objectives, especially when it comes to health, safety, and broad-based Black economic empowerment compliance issues.
Okay, so it's about much more than just technical standards then. It sounds like the government committed to providing a supportive legal environment as the Act says for all this. What were the direct goals? What do they want to see happen?
Well, the Act aims squarely to establish SANAS as the sole body, the only one responsible for accreditations related to conformity assessment, calibration, and good laboratory practice, or GLP.
The sole body, that's key.
It is. And by doing that, it wants to ensure an internationally recognized accreditation system. That recognition is fundamental because it directly promotes accreditation as a means of facilitating international trade and enhancing the economic performance and transformation of the Republic.
So opening doors for business, essentially.
And crucially, it also seeks to promote the competence and equivalence of all these accredited bodies and facilities, making sure everyone is genuinely up to scratch and that their results are comparable.
Okay, let's unpack those terms you just mentioned because they're, right at the heart of this act. We're talking about accreditation for conformity assessment, calibration, and good laboratory practice. Can you break down what each of those actually means for us? In simple terms.
Absolutely. Let's try. Think of it like this. First, accreditation. This is the formal recognition by an authoritative body, SANAS, in this case that another organization or person is competent, that they have the skills and systems to carry out specific tasks.
So it's like the official seal of approval, saying, yep, these guys know what they're doing.
Exactly, a stamp of competence. Then you have conformity assessment. Now, this sounds complex, but it's simply the process of checking if something, a product, a service, maybe a management system, meets specific standards or requirements.
Like checking if a new toy is safe for kids.
Perfect example. That testing to ensure safety. That's conformity assessment. Okay, next, calibration. This is all about accuracy. It's the process of checking and adjusting measuring instruments to ensure they give precise, reliable readings.
Like the scales at the grocery store or the petrol pump.
Precisely. Or even critical medical equipment. You absolutely need them to be accurate, and calibration is what ensures that. It compares the instrument to a known standard.
Got it. And the last one, GLP.
Right. Good laboratory practice. GLP. This refers to a specific quality system, mostly used for non-clinical health and environmental safety studies. Think testing chemicals or pharmaceuticals before they reach humans. GLP ensures the planning, performance, monitoring, recording, archiving, and reporting of these studies are done to a really high, reliable, and reproducible standard.
So it's about making sure scientific data is fundamentally trustworthy.
Exactly. Trustworthy and verifiable.
Okay, so this act skillfully stitches all of that together under one legislative umbrella, and SANAS is clearly the linchpin. What exactly is SANAS now under this act, and what's its unique role in this whole system?
So SANAS is formally established as a juristic person. Now, that's a legal term.
Meaning it can act like a person in law, sign contracts, own things.
Precisely. It gained its own legal personality. Separate from individuals or the government, it can enter contracts, own property, sue, and be sued. It's also designated as a public entity, which is important.
Why is that important?
Because it means it operates on behalf of the public interest, and it has to follow specific rules for transparency and financial management under the Public Finance Management Act. It's accountable.
Right. So it transitioned from being, I think you mentioned, a nonprofit organization before.
That's correct. It was previously registered under the Companies Act as an association not for gain. This act formalized its status and elevated its authority.
And what's its unique status now, specifically under this act? What makes it special?
Well, crucially, Section 4 of the Act recognizes SANAS as the only national body responsible for carrying out accreditations for conformity assessment in the Republic. The only one.
Wow. Okay, so no competitors allowed in that space.
Not for the formal national accreditation role, no.
Yep.
This covers accrediting a huge range of organizations: calibration, testing, and verification laboratories, certification bodies, the ones who certify management systems like ISO 9001 inspection bodies, and even rating agencies.
Rating agencies too. Interesting.
Yes. And it also holds that critical role of being the national body to monitor GLP compliance based on those international OECD principles we mentioned. This sole authority is really key to creating a unified, consistent, and trusted system across the board.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting for me. Once SANAS is established with this unique status, what are its specific functions and objectives? Like, what is it actually doing day to day to achieve these broad goals of trade facilitation and competence?
Right. So its core objectives, laid out in Section 5, are pretty clear. First, to accredit or monitor for GLP compliance any organization that falls within its scope. Second, to promote accreditation itself as a tool, a means of facilitating international trade and enhancing the Republic's economic performance and transformation.
Yeah.
And third, to promote the actual competence and equivalence of these accredited bodies and GLP-compliant facilities, ensuring they're not just certified, but genuinely good at what they do and comparable to international counterparts.
So how does it do all that? What are the functions?
Well, it has a pretty comprehensive set of functions listed. It actively promotes itself as the sole national accreditation body gets the word out. It encourages and promotes the use of accreditation across different sectors and fosters GLP compliance.
So advocacy as well.
Definitely. It works hard to ensure its own activities, and those of the bodies it accredits are accepted both nationally and internationally. This involves a lot of liaising, talking to global standards, bodies like ISO, regional bodies, national regulators here, and advising organizations on what they need to do to get accredited.
A lot of relationship building, sounds like.
Absolutely. And a key practical function is to establish and maintain a register of all accredited organizations in the Republic, so you can actually look up who is accredited for what.
Transparency. Useful.
Very. Furthermore, it initiates, negotiates, concludes, and maintains these crucial mutual recognition arrangements, MRAs, with accreditation bodies in other countries.
What do those do exactly?
They are basically agreements where countries agree to recognize each other's accreditations. So if a lab is accredited by SANAS, and SANAS has an MRA with, say, Germany's accreditation body, then Germany should accept the results from that SANAS-accredited lab as if it were accredited locally. Hugely important for reducing duplicate testing and facilitating trade.
I can see how that cuts down on hassle and cost for businesses.
Massively. SANAS also participates in formulating international guidelines and standards, so it has a voice on the global stage. And importantly, it protects the use of its own logo and the logos of those international groups like ILAC, International Laboratory Accreditation Cooperation, and IAF, International Accreditation Forum, which signify that global recognition.
Okay, that's a huge mandate, a really significant public entity with broad responsibilities. How is an organization like SANAS managed? And just as importantly, how is it funded to do all this vital work? Seems expensive.
It is a significant operation. It's governed by a board, which the Act specifies should have not less than 10 and not more than 15 members.
Right.
This includes the chief executive officer, the CEO, and potentially one or two other senior managers. The rest are non-executive members, appointed by the Minister of Trade and Industry.
And who sits on this board?
The minister has to ensure the board is broadly representative of the demographics of the country, including gender and disability considerations. And critically, the members need to have sufficient knowledge and experience in relevant areas, things like business management, finance, marketing, obviously international accreditation itself, and regulatory matters.
So a diverse and expert group.
That's the intention. And this board acts as the accounting authority for SANAS under the Public Finance Management Act. They are ultimately responsible for its financial stewardship and governance.
And who runs the actual day-to-day operations? The CEO.
Yes. The board appoints a suitably qualified chief executive officer, the CEO, after consulting with the minister. The CEO is accountable to the board and is responsible for the efficient management, the day-to-day running of SANAS.
And how long do they typically serve?
They hold office for a term not exceeding 5 years, but there is potential for reappointment.
Okay, now the big question. Where does SANAS get the money to do all this? From running assessments to negotiating those international agreements.
Its funds, detailed in Section 20, come from a few different streams. There's money appropriated by Parliament, which is essentially government funding.
Taxpayer money?
Part of it, yes. Then there are various fees. Accreditation fees paid by organizations when they first apply. There are also annual fees paid by accredited organizations to maintain their accreditation status.
So the users of the system contribute.
Correct. And they also generate income from things like training programs or specific projects they might undertake. It can also receive money from other legitimate sources and has to invest its funds according to the rules in the Public Finance Management Act.
So a mix of public and user funding. Now, you mentioned its critical role in international trade and global trust. How does SANAS actually ensure its standards and accreditations are recognized globally? It's one thing to say you're the only body domestically, but what makes other countries accept that SANAS stamp of approval?
That's a vital point, and it's addressed directly in Section 7. This provision states quite clearly that SANAS is required to comply with international accreditation standards and criteria relevant to its scope of activity.
Required to comply, so it's not optional.
Not at all. It's a legal mandate baked into the Act. By adhering rigorously to these global benchmark standards set by bodies like ISO, ILOC, IAF, SANAS, ensures that the accreditations it grants are accepted worldwide. It's this compliance, verified through peer evaluations by other international accreditation bodies, that fosters that crucial international trust.
So they get audited too, in a way.
Exactly. Peer evaluations are a cornerstone of the international system. This compliance is what truly enables smooth global trade, reducing those technical barriers and opening markets for businesses based in the Republic.
Okay, that makes sense. So let's get practical. For an organization, maybe a laboratory or an inspection body, what's the actual process they go through to get accredited by SANAS? Can you walk us through what that journey looks like?
Sure. Imagine you run, say, a new food testing laboratory, and you want your results to be trusted nationally and internationally. You'd start by applying to SANAS. You have to follow their specific procedures, which are determined by the board.
Okay, fill out the forms.
Pretty much, yes, but it's more involved than just forms. SANAS then meticulously evaluates your application. This involves reviewing your documentation, your quality manuals, procedures, staff qualifications, but crucially, it also involves on-site assessments.
They actually come visit the lab.
Oh, yes. Assessors who are technical experts in your specific field will come to your facility. They'll observe your operations, interview your staff, check your equipment calibration records, review your quality management system and practice. They're checking against SANAS's determined procedures and criteria, which always include the relevant national or international standards, like ISO AES 17025 for testing labs.
It sounds quite rigorous.
It is, and it needs to be. If, after this thorough evaluation, your organization meets all the criteria, SANAS will issue either an accreditation certificate or, if relevant, a certificate of GLP compliance. This certificate specifies exactly what scope you're accredited for, which specific tests or inspections, and any conditions that might apply.
So these certificates are the tangible proof of competence, then?
Yeah.
What are some of the key details about these important documents? What's their status?
Well, firstly, they are signed by the CEO or someone delegated by the CEO. An important point the Act makes is that these certificates remain the property of SANAS.
Oh, so the lab doesn't own the certificate.
No, they hold it as proof of accreditation, but SANAS retains ownership. It has to be returned if SANAS requests it, for example, if accreditation is withdrawn or suspended. It signifies an ongoing recognition contingent on continued compliance. And a very powerful aspect is their legal standing. The Act states that in any legal proceedings, a certified copy of one of these SANAS certificates serves as prima facie evidence, meaning accepted as correct until proven otherwise of the facts contained within it.
So it carries real weight in court.
Absolutely. And similarly, a certificate or report issued by a body accredited by SANAS, like results from your hypothetical accredited lab, can also serve as evidence in legal proceedings under Section 25. This provides robust legal backing for the trust placed in accredited results and services.
And once an organization is accredited, what are their ongoing responsibilities? It can't just be a one-time check and then you're good forever. Right?
Absolutely not. Accreditation isn't a destination, it's an ongoing commitment. Accredited bodies have a continuous responsibility to comply at all times with SANAS accreditation criteria. This includes maintaining the specific technical competencies defined in their certificate scope.
So regular checks, surveillance.
Yes, SANAS conducts regular surveillance visits and reassessments to ensure continued compliance. And the Act is very clear on misuse. Section 24 states that misuse of accreditation, including misrepresentation of data from an accredited body or misuse of the accreditation symbol, is an offense.
Ah, so there are serious penalties for not playing by the rules or for pretending you're accredited for something you're not or faking results.
Definitely. You can't just get the certificate and then let standards slip or misuse the SANAS logo to imply accreditation you don't have.
What are some of the other offenses mentioned in the Act? What kind of consequences are we talking about?
Section 27 outlines several offenses. For instance, any person who knowingly makes or assists in making a report, return, notice, or any other document that contains an untrue statement of a material fact, or, just as importantly, omits to state a material fact that makes the statement misleading, is guilty of an offense.
So lying by commission or omission.
Exactly. Also, simply contravening the rules on maintaining accreditation or breaching confidentiality are listed as offenses. The penalties upon conviction can be quite significant. The Act mentions a fine or to imprisonment for a period not exceeding 24 months or to both a fine and such imprisonment.
2 years is substantial.
It shows they take compliance seriously. And that breach of confidence clause in Section 28 is also important. People involved in SANAS functions, board members, staff, assessors, are generally prohibited from disclosing any confidential information they obtain during their work.
Except under certain conditions.
Yes, exceptions include disclosing it to the minister for the necessary performance of their duties under the Act, or if required by another law or court order. This protects sensitive business and technical information that companies share during the accreditation process.
Okay, shifting gears slightly. Beyond these operational specifics, what are the broader legal implications of SANA's existence? How does it fit into the wider legal landscape of the country?
Well, as a public entity, SANAS's liability, meaning its legal responsibility if things go wrong, is governed by the State Liability Act of 1957. This aligns it with other government bodies and provides a clear framework for accountability.
So it can be held responsible.
Yes, within that framework. However, the Act also includes an important protection, Section 29(2), for individuals, board members, employees, assessors acting in good faith when performing functions or exercising powers under the Act. They are protected from liability.
Why is that protection there?
It's crucial to encourage officials to carry out their duties diligently, making necessary judgments and taking actions required by the Act without being paralyzed by the fear of personal lawsuits for actions taken honestly and reasonably in their official capacity. It helps the system function effectively.
Makes sense. Now, the Act also includes transitional provisions in Section 30. What does that tell us about the journey to establishing SANAS as this powerful public entity? Was it built entirely from scratch by this Act, or did it evolve from something else?
That's an important historical detail highlighted there. These provisions were designed to ensure a smooth, seamless transition from SANAS's previous status. Remember, it was an existing nonprofit association to its new legal form as a public entity created by this Act.
So it wasn't started from zero in 2007.
No, the structure and expertise were largely there. The act basically formalized and empowered it. On the effective date, the day this act established the new SANAS, the old Section 21 association legally ceased to exist.
And what happened to its stuff, its people, its work?
The Act handled that neatly. All the assets, liabilities, rights, and obligations of the old association were automatically transferred to the new SANA's public entity. Critically, all employees were transferred over on their existing terms and conditions.
So job security was maintained.
Yes, continuity for staff. And very importantly, any accreditations that had already been granted by the old association were automatically deemed to have been made by SANAS in terms of this Act.
So existing accredited labs didn't suddenly lose their status.
Exactly. It provided vital continuity and legal certainty for everyone involved. It prevented any disruption to the national accreditation system or to the businesses and labs that relied on it. It was a legal mechanism to ensure a smooth handover.
Okay, bringing it all together then. What does this all mean for you, the listener? Whether you're a consumer just buying groceries, a business owner trying to export, maybe a government official, or even a law student trying to see the bigger picture. Why should this seemingly technical act matter to your everyday life?
Well, I think this act provides the invisible but absolutely essential legal backbone for the trust you place in countless products and services every single day. When you see an accreditation symbol or rely on a test result, it means a facility has been rigorously, independently assessed for competence against international standards, thanks to the framework this act enforces through SANAS.
So it underpins safety and reliability.
Absolutely. It's vital for health, safety, and general consumer protection. For businesses, particularly those looking to trade internationally, SANAS accreditation, recognized globally because of the Act's requirements, is often crucial. It helps them meet requirements in other countries, facilitating international trade and reducing those technical barriers.
So it boosts the economy.
Directly, it enhances economic performance and transformation by making it easier for local companies to compete on a global stage. And for law students, it's really a prime example of how legislation actively creates essential infrastructure for a modern economy. It shows how legal concepts, juristic personality, public entities, statutory duties intertwine directly with technical standards, international relations, and national economic development goals.
It's a fascinating intersection of law, science, and economics.
It truly is.
So our deep dive into the Accreditation for Conformity Assessment, Calibration, and Good Laboratory Practice Act, 2006, I think it reveals that behind what might seem like a dry, technical legal text, there's actually a dynamic and absolutely critical system working away. It's fundamental for national and international confidence.
Couldn't agree more. It's all about ensuring competence, promoting fair trade, reducing risk, and ultimately safeguarding public well-being in ways most of us probably never even stop to consider.
It really is that invisible infrastructure.
Indeed. And this act wasn't just about creating a bureaucratic body. It was about formalizing, strengthening, and giving legal teeth to an entire ecosystem of trust. It really raises an important question, I think. When so much of our modern lives relies on these unseen standards, these certifications, these checks and balances, how aware are we really of the powerful legal frameworks like this one that make all that reliability possible?
That's a great point.
And maybe how much more could we achieve as consumers, as businesses, as a nation, if we truly understood and leveraged this invisible infrastructure of quality and competence?
Think about that the next time you encounter a certified product, or rely on a medical test result, or even just fill up your car at the pump, trusting that the measurement is accurate. What questions does this deep dive raise for you about the standards that govern our world and the unseen legally backed forces that keep it all working, quietly ensuring quality and trust?